Hey, Ken. So you popped in here. I think I might. Hey, Chuck. I might need to get a little bit of light in this room. That dimmer switch didn't work as well as I thought. I hope it's not reflecting badly on the screen tonight. Hello there, Mush Goldberg. Good evening from Melbourne, Australia. You know I like that. Welcome. William, you're in the kingdom, buddy. Got some ground to cover tonight because we haven't talked real seriously about the insides of this game. So I want to cover a couple of things that have come up recently during the games. Hey, George, Trish, welcome. How you doing? King Allen on board. But some interesting things have happened that I had begun to do a lot more homework on this game, and I was dissatisfied with some of my betting uh, styles. And so I've been making some adjustments there as well to try to avoid some problems that can definitely come up and would have come up last night had I not already made this adjustment. So you guys know how cautious I am about trying to protect the money as well as trying to make sure we keep winning. The whole thing about being a professional player is you have to win every time. That's what makes it so hard. Is you don't ever want a loss, and so that's the way I work, and it requires you to keep learning and keep tweaking as you're going, and that's why I call what we're doing now kind of like a practice, like a law practice or a doctor's practice. You're trying to get better at what you're doing. Hey, John, there you are. Good evening. Mark Myers, you're on board. So we got 15 in here. I'll just give it a couple more minutes, maybe another minute, and then I'm going to get into it because I've got some ground I need to cover with you. And I'll start with something that happened last night, or rather several things happened last night that I wanted to delve into. Um, the first thing was I just sat kind of at first base. I'll choose any place, the location, because it doesn't matter where you're sitting in Baccarat. The comparison's often made to blackjack, and there's no comparison between the two games at all. Hey, Kevin, um, that blackjack, of course, has many things. Hey, Glenn, blackjack. One of the first things about it is you get to play the player only, and the banker slash dealer, so to speak, is the opposition, and they get to be that all the time. And as in with baccarat, a player does take the first hit. Like the if the player has a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they always get a card. They're going to get a card right away, and if they get a 6 or 7, they're going to stand. If they get 8 or 9, that's a natural, of course. But so 0 through 5, the player is always going to get a card, uh, unless, of course, the banker has 8 or 9. But something else happened interesting last night that the banker had a 6 and the player had a 2, and then the player um, I'm sorry, the player took a card and got a 7 to make a 2. And so that's what happened was the player got a 7 to make a 2, and I didn't know this rule, and I was kind of embarrassed when I saw somebody else point it out. But if the banker has a 6 and the player draws a 6 or a 7, if the player draws a 6 or a 7, then the banker must take a card. And the banker didn't take a card and was going to win the hand with the 6. And an Asian guy pointed out, wait a minute, you got to take a card here. And they brought over the pit boss who said, yep, you do. And sure enough, the banker took a card and drew a 5 for a 1, and the player won when they wouldn't have won otherwise. Yeah, blackjack is just something else, man. I discourage anyone from ever playing that game. I tell you one thing: if you're ever going to play blackjack, Green Shark, or anybody, do not follow that supposedly tried and true basic strategy. The hit strategy is okay on it. That part's okay, but the doubling down, the splitting. Matter of fact, splitting aces is never a good idea because two is actually a good hand in blackjack. If you ever watched a dealer get two aces, you will watch them beat you all the time. The double ace will draw a nine all the time. And so if you had two aces in blackjack, you do not split them. You just go ahead and play your two. Even if you look at it from an actuarial science of the numbers that could come up, the cards that could come up to a two that make it really good. You could get a 7, 8, 9 real easily. You could even get another 2, 3, or 4 that can draw another card. So the 2 is a deadly hand in blackjack, and you really would love to have it. But I don't want anybody playing blackjack because if they were going to play, I would tell you how to play it. Hey, Mike, but I don't want you playing blackjack at all. And if you look at it from a sense of baccarat, blackjack. The blackjack hand of 21 is the same as a 9 in baccarat. I mean, it's a winning hand, right? But if you go past 21, you're done in blackjack. If you go past 9 in baccarat, it just starts over. It's a wheel. You can have 1, 2, you can have 6 and any other number. You don't bust if you go past 9, is what I'm saying. Oh, you got to, yeah, the three card rule is, as Chuck Ritter's pointing out, the three card rule is what I was talking about. And it makes the rules very easy to understand. But the thing about it is there are a lot of rules and a lot of dealers don't even know them themselves. And it helps if you're at the table and you can stop something and say, wait a minute, that wasn't done exactly right. Because baccarat is not like other games. I call it a civilized game. It's played nice and quietly. It's played very slowly. And it's a civilized game. It's played gentlemanly, and that's one of the other reasons that I like about it. But oh shoot, I didn't bring my pen down here. Oh, I don't need it. So here's what I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to show tonight. We'll take a demonstration and see if it works out tonight or not. But the last two times I've played, I have not started with the $200 bet with D'Alembert. I instead have done the hybrid that we always liked. I've done the hybrid of Martingale and D'Alembert. And the way I've been doing it is I put out a $25 bet. And if I lose, I put out a $50 bet. If I lose, I put out a $100 bet. If I lose, I put out a $200 bet. And if I lose, I put out a $400 bet. If you add those up and I lose all four hands, I'm down $775. But if I start with the 200 with the D'Alembert and I lose, the next bet's 3. The next bet's 4. The next bet is 5. And that's where you come to where you're at 1,400. You're about to go to 2,000, and with the hybrid Martingale, you go 25, 50, 100, 200, 400, and your next bet is $500. And so you'd have a difference of being down $775 trying to start, or a difference of being down 14 and close to 2,000. And last night, I started with the 25, 50, 100, 200, and I lost the first 4 hands. And that can happen. We know that. There's actually unlimited. You can lose as many as possible. There is no limitation on losing. This is a game. And so you're playing your own actuarial science of trying to have these intersections like we used to talk about in roulette. You're trying to have an intersection where your side catches the winning cards, and you can play either side. You're not stuck with one. We do play both sides the whole time. And so what happened last night was when I went to the $500 bet, I won, and then I went down $75 to the $425 bet, and I won, and then I reset at 25. And so that was what I want to do. And okay, that's a really good point. Ted's asking about the bankroll last night, and it wasn't that I was overconfident. It was that I forgot what I had done yesterday. I had what I thought was enough money, but on the way I had to mail the money out to some of the guys in the lower 48 and some of the guys in Canada, and I sent cash money in envelopes, and I burned through some money, and so I actually had less money than I thought when I arrived at the casino. But I decided to go on with what I had, and I was just going to give it my best shot rather than turn around and come back and just say, well, I'm below what I wanted to have. So last night I ended up with $3,600. that I took to the casino, and I made 425, and then I made a $25 bet for the dealer rather than just a flat tip. I usually make a bet for them. That way, if they win, they get to double the money. If they lose, well, too bad. But sometimes the dealers like to have a little bit of action. And so, having said all that, I'll just to touch base on what else happened was there was a guy at third base last night, and I really didn't notice him because I don't look around the table too much. A lot of people are playing the wild games all the time. They're playing the pandas and they're playing the dragons and they're playing the ties and bouncing around on instinct on whether they play player or banker. And so there's really no reason to watch them. But then I had something happen that caused me to think about some of the popular guys we see on YouTube, some of the so-called big players. There's one player, of course, that you've seen him where he's allegedly leaving the MGM Grand, I think it was, with like $11 million in shrink-wrapped $100 bills on a cart. And the only thing I'm going to say is, as impressive as that looks and as interesting as that looks, most any of us know that that will not pass the common sense test. Um, the the MGM Grand would spend 4 or 5 hours counting $11 million in $100 bills and then shrink wrapping it for him so he could just push it through the casino out to a limousine. The whole idea is just nuts. And so if you ever wondered whether that was a photoshopped video, all you got to do is apply some common sense to it, and you know it was. It's okay for him to do it. He makes a lot of money as an influencer, but then when you see him at other times, like I saw him where he was supposedly talking to a player through a blackjack move and screaming hit and stand, and the player won $200 and they were high-fiving each other in the van. And well, if you just won $11 million, I don't think you're high-fiving over $200. But I've also seen him lose 1,500 in a live play and act like he'd lost his best friend. And so some of these things just don't add up, and I don't mind people influencing and making money. Good for you. But I just ask everybody to pay close attention. There's another player out there who purports to be a big professional player, and he's very successful on his Instagram postings and on his YouTube postings. He's got a lot of followers, and he was showing some live blackjack in which he played all of the side bets. Now, there is no professional going to be playing those side bets. And there's just not no way in the world any professional knows that the side bets could pay good odds, yes, but they are not a good bet to play. And a serious professional player would never do it. And he was high-fiving over winning a $1,500 side bet. Now, if you're making millions in the casino, a $1,500 win is not going to bring high fives. That's all I'm saying. Once again, applying Occam's razor, applying common sense. As Green Shark is saying, the side bets are for amateurs who are trying to hit a score and go. But these things are not done that way, and I don't begrudge any of these guys what they're doing, but they are making money largely off of influencing, and they're very good at it. Now, I will say this: what I have found was the guy that I'm talking about who was at third base, so to speak, last night. He was straight across the table from me, and I really wasn't paying attention to any of the players. And one time, as I was making a bet, I looked up and he was looking at me and he nodded his head. And I thought, okay, that was kind of a serious, quiet nod of the head. Why, why was that? What was he, did he mean anything by it? And I looked and I saw his bet and he lost and he made another bet and he lost again. He made another bet and moved. And I saw the increments of the bets indicated D'Alembert betting. And then he won and he went back down. And so I realized that I'm looking at another pro player. And that's what the nod was about. He had noticed my betting, and now I noticed his. We never talked. We never had any other interaction. I don't exactly know how much he won because he colored out and right about $1,000. So my guess is he won about 400 also, and which is leading me to believe that the guys that are truly going to the casino trying to win every day, they are marginalizing their risk against trying to make sure that they make some money. And this guy was obviously a serious player, and he noticed my betting as well. So it was kind of interesting to get a tip of the hat kind of look from him. And then, of course, I was happy to finish ahead after losing the first four hands. I guess, like I mentioned last night, I don't think I won more than 30% of the hands. And so if I were doing a, uh, a reel on Instagram, I would say, if you think you're going to the casino to win, you better be able to win a profit at winning 30% of your hands. You'd better be able to, because 30% of your hands, even when playing what purportedly is a 50-50 game like Baccarat, you certainly could win 50%. You really don't win 50% that often, maybe in a short run. But you also don't want to be at the table so long. But right now, I'm willing to risk that right now, the time at the table, because this is not roulette with 38 numbers. That you can't get overpowered by power of large numbers. You can't be beaten by mathematical chaos when you're playing Baccarat, because I haven't been able to decide yet how many decks are in the shoe at Shelbyville. I probably should just ask, but then again, it really doesn't matter. Ordinarily, the Baccarat is played with 8 decks that are hand shuffled or machine shuffled, but not continuous shuffle. And it actually doesn't matter very much how they are shuffled, because you can bet either side. The game is not designed to favor one player or banker. The game is just it's a random amount of cards. And whether you were able to count cards, whether there's more high cards left than small cards, it really doesn't matter. Um, well, yeah, like for you, it's only a slight margin that favors the banker, but there are times that the banker is a little bit of a favorite. But then again, you do pay the commission when the banker wins too. So if you get in D'Alembert where you have a high amount of money bet and your win is on the banker and you have to pay commission, you don't exactly recover all the money you thought you were going to recover because you have to pay the commission. Now, the $25 table I'm playing, $25 minimum, $10,000 maximum. That table does not take the commission, and I like that, but it did happen last night. I was betting on the banker, and the banker won with a 7. And when the banker wins with a 7 on the no commission table, that is called a push. And the dealer simply pushed my money back to me and said, make a new bet, pal, because there's no money won on that. The dealer 7, that's where they get their commission. They don't pay off on a dealer winning with a 7. But I still like that table because they're not taking money from you each time. And if you get deep into D'Alembert, well, you don't lose any money when you win. So I wanted to cover all that with you, and we can go back over this again. But um, well, I still believe that the pattern wins, and I'm going to show it to you again tonight, Lightfree. Thank you. I stick with this pattern that I've been playing. It's played in couplets. Well, $25 to 100,000. Well, let's raise $100,000, and I'm going to go up northern Indiana to the Hard Rock, and I'm going to start with $25 bets, and I'm going to win every night if you can go up to 100,000. Of course, we'll probably have a $50,000 bet to win 25 bucks one time, but that's all right, just as long as we win. So, okay, so for Lightfree and for others, I'm going to show Ted Rogers. Hey, yeah, that's funny. I'm going to show what we're going to do. What we're going to start is I'm going to do a no bet here, just to get a fresh deck out on the table. And okay, so here's how I would walk in and I would play. I would play $25 right now. I'd play opposite the winner, and this removes the probability thing. We're back into random, which I like. We're just saying we're going opposite the last because Baccarat chops a lot. So we're trying to take advantage of the chop while we try to beat the streaks by going back and forth after 2. You're never on one bet more than 2 hands. If you win on the first one, you're moving right away. If you win on the second one, you move then. But you never stay for a third hand. And that's the way we're doing it now. We're going to do the beginning. We got a martingale as we start, and we're going to start with a $25 bet on the player. And there we go. We're going to try to win $400 here. Losing that bet, we're going to martingale this player bet to $50. Maybe I'll lose the first 4 here tonight too. Nope. Okay, so we're up $25 and we won. So that keeps us at the entry level of the martingale, and we move over to banker. We don't care who's won the last or before now. We're on the roll now. We're going to play win, go, or play two and win and go, or play two, lose and go. We're going to stay no more than two. And we're on to banker now. And now we're up $50. So we go back to $25 on the player. This is martingale for 4 stages. The player lost rebets, second bet on the player, $50. So now we're up $125. We're going to go to the banker for $25 bet. And they are taking the commission here. You can see it paid 49. So we go to the player for 25 after that win. Winning on the first time, we just keep moving. 25 on the banker. Entry level martingale. Now we're going to go to 50 on the banker. And with that loss, we're going to come back with a $100 bet on the player, but you'll see something interesting here. Here's why the shuffle works. They're going to burn a card. The burned king. Now count these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they burned the king means they're going to discard 10 cards. If they burned a 3, they discard 3. That's how they do it. So now we got to figure out where we were. I think it's a $200 bet on the. It's a $100 bet on the player. That's what it is. Okay. I keep talking. I forget where I was. Lose my place. The push just rebets. Now we got to go to $200 bet on the player. Lots of ties right now. Okay, so that $200 bet, now we're going to go up. I'm going to go up to $300 bet. It's going to be on the banker. We're going up 4 units. I don't have my pen with me, so I'm not keeping track. I have to do my best here. So that $300 bet, we're going to go to a $225 bet on the player. And then a $325 on the player. Now we're getting beat. Okay, so we go to $425. This is all Dell and Bear now. $425 on the banker. And we go to $350, down 3 units on the player. To $450. Now we go to $375 on the banker. And $475. Just can't get a couple, need 2 in a row. $475. Puts us to $400 on the player. And there's our money. $414 winner. So as you can see, Dell & Bear did it again. I mean, you need to win 2 in a row at Dell & Bear and you've got your money. So yes, you can get there if you start with the Dell & Bear right away, but you can also get yourself in a deep hole that I'm not ready to do right now. If when we have the money, like we got a pile of money, we'll go to $100,000 limit, and I'll play anything any way you want to play. But for right now, I'm trying to make the $400 or 500 or 600, depending on the night, and keep piling up the money for us. And to get ready to when we can play every day, because you even saw like last night, I was starting to get beat up a little bit by the drive, but I'm freshened up today. I've done all the things I'm supposed to do today, hydration and food and rest, and so I'm better. And for all of you guys, thank you for watching. We're playing the martingale right now, 25, 50, 100, 200, and then we just go to 3, go to 4, go to 5, go back down $75, get our money, and call it a night. Yeah, I know, Green Shark. Like when you wait for the consecutive wins, and you're perfectly welcome to do that, because it does have its ways of winning. The problems are that it is a probability, and when you're trying to use probability, you can run into trouble, particularly when we have to win every day. I'm trying to make sure we win every day. And also, we have other players here that have found that it's hard to sit at the table. Sometimes, if you're playing that way, you sit out through 5, 6, 7 hands. And it is a civilized game. The dealer never tells you you have to bet, but it begins to spread some kind of feeling of why is this guy not playing, and and you also end up being at the table a long time. So if I can do this and I can win the money, then that's what we want to do. Gordon, we mailed cash. We mailed cash because it was the kind of thing of going above the border, not knowing how the check would work. And we are going to continue to try to figure this thing out because it is a little bit of an administrative nightmare when I'm trying to put it all together. And like David Whicher up there in Ontario, he got a little bit of a larger amount of cash, but old Which, he's a cool old character and kind of like my age, and he can duck and jive with the best of them. So he'll be all right receiving his money that way as well. But yeah, Gordon, we sent cash in the envelope. It's in a security envelope so that you can't see there's cash in there. But that doesn't mean it couldn't be subject to some nefarious action by somebody. Who knows? Okay, so I wanted to cover all that. I wanted to talk about the influencers tonight because I watch them too and I enjoy them as well. But they aren't serious players. And the thing about it is, anytime you're walking through a casino, you can enjoy just observing for a little while. It doesn't matter if you're observing baccarat or blackjack or what you're observing. If you watch how the people are betting, that is your telltale sign of whether they are going to win or not. If they're flat betting blackjack, I'm going to tell you they're never going to win more than 40% of those hands, and so they're going to lose. There's nothing going to stop them. H.R. Green Shark tells me he played interblock roulette for 2.5 hours, made 7 bets and won 6 left. Hey, okay, listen. Now, the key to that was you're playing interblock, and so interblock is an intuitive wheel that does know where you are, Green Shark, so be careful with that game. But you waited it out and you sprung a surprise on them, which is brilliant of you, and you had the patience to do it. And I never argue with the man that wins. You made 7 bets and you won 6 of them, and that is uncanny because there are 18 numbers over there against you, not just one. When you're playing baccarat, it's one side and the other. And so if you imagine that roulette wheel having one side being red and one side being black with no zeros on it, can you imagine how much you would win? Oh my goodness gracious, you'd kill it. Can you imagine playing blackjack where you could choose that you want to be the player or you want to be the dealer? I'm going to be the dealer this time, okay? Wow, how that game would change. They don't let you do it. They let you do it in baccarat. You choose whichever side you want, and you just go at it. So I appreciate all the comments. Great comments tonight, and thought-provoking things being said. But this is why we are who we are in this group. Thank you to all of you. So we won 600 and then we won 400, and Yeah, that sounds good. Gordy Parker says, wants to see that stuff, Green Shark. I want to know. So you guys can share things together, and that's one of the other things about this interactive way of discussion. So the King's gonna bid you adieu for tonight, and we'll be back with you soon. Let me see what the schedules look like. But thank you very much. We're winning. We're going to try to keep winning. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It only matters is the last win done. So you always want to win. I will do my best. Thank you, Michael Steinfeld. It's a great day to be a Hoosier. As bad as the team has been all year, they actually pulled out a win today after trailing the whole time, and they may sneak into the NCAA tournament after all, so they can lose the first game, but that would be all right, just so they could make it. Hey, thank you, Chuck. Any input from all you guys that are playing, I appreciate you all. Everyone should be a king or queen. That's right, Mike. Put the money up and let's get it going. And thank you to all of you. I'll see you all again very soon.